We've all heard the phrase, made in God's image, and most of us probably think we get it. Humans are special. But what if that's barely scratching the surface? What if the true, ancient meaning of this phrase isn't just some comforting religious idea, but a radical, forgotten blueprint for how we should live? In a world that feels like it's tearing itself apart, the answer might just change how you see yourself and everyone else forever. To really get this, we have to go back to page 1 of the story. In Genesis chapter 1, after the world is filled with life, God says, "Let us make mankind in our image, in our likeness, so that they may rule." And then it says, "So God created mankind in his own image. Male and female, he created them." Now, our modern brains immediately picture something physical. Does God have 2 arms and 2 legs? But ancient writers would say, nope, that's not the point. In their world, the ancient Near East, an image was a huge concept. When a king conquered a new territory, he'd set up a statue, an image of himself. This wasn't just art, it was a statement. It declared the king's presence and his authority over that land. The image was his stand-in, a physical representative meant to carry out the king's will. And that is the key. Being made in God's image isn't about what we look like. It's about our function. We were created to be God's living, breathing statues on earth. So if it's not about looking like God, what's it all about? It's about representing Him. It's about our very identity. Functionally, we're called to rule, to act as God's responsible representatives, cultivating the world and helping it flourish relationally. Just as God exists in community, we were made for relationship with Him and with each other. But here's the most mind-blowing part. The image of God is an essential part of our nature. It's not something you earn with your intelligence, your abilities, or by being a good person. It's an identity stamped on you at your core, which gives every single human life a profound and unshakable worth. In a world screaming that your value comes from your job title, your social status, or your follower count, this ancient idea offers a revolutionary alternative. Your worth isn't based on what you do, but on who you are. You are a divine image bearer. That is your most fundamental calling. Okay, but what does this have to do with our divided world? This is where a theological idea becomes an ethical bombshell. The declaration in Genesis is that all humanity is created in the divine image, male and female, every tribe, every nation, every skin color, every level of ability. No exceptions, no fine print, no hierarchies. This means every single person you ever meet carries a reflection of the divine. And if that's true, how you treat another person is a direct reflection of how you view God. The book of James in the Bible points out how insane it is that we bless God with one breath and then turn around and curse people made in His likeness. To look at another person, the immigrant, the enemy, the one with different beliefs, the unborn, the elderly, the disabled, and deny them dignity is to essentially take a can of spray paint to a divine masterpiece. This truth doesn't just suggest we be nice, it commands us to see the sacred value in everyone. Section 4. The restored image. Of course, there's a problem, and we all feel it. We don't do this. We don't live this out perfectly. The Bible calls this brokenness sin, and it has marred that perfect image. It's been distorted, both in how we see ourselves and how we see others.
This is why Christian theology points to one person as the ultimate solution: Jesus Christ. The New Testament calls Jesus the perfect, visible image of the invisible God. He is the full embodiment of what humanity was always meant to be. And the incredible claim is that through him, this damaged image can be restored. The journey of faith is described as a process of being renewed back into that same image, becoming more and more like him. It's about becoming fully human, the way we were always intended to be.
So, being made in God's image isn't some passive feel-good idea about humans being special. It's a job description, it's a radical vocation, it's a blueprint for an identity that can't be shaken by your circumstances, and it's an ethical command to see the face of God in every person you meet. It's a call to represent his just, compassionate, and creative rule in every corner of your life. If this idea of a radical identity and a profound ethical calling hits home for you, consider subscribing for more content that explores these foundational ideas. And let us know in the comments, how does this perspective change the way you see yourself and others?